Hey, what's up guys, Mashin here, come back with a brand new video for you guys. It's been about 8 months since I've gone through and given my investment review for the year on CSGO cases, so I feel like that's what we're going to be doing today. First thing I want to mention, obviously I have my own case investments. If you ever want to check that out, every description has it, and there's also obviously up on screen now the majority of them. We're going to be going over the rest of it after a quick word from our sponsor, SkinsMonkey. The sponsor for today's video is SkinsMonkey. Now SkinsMonkey is the quickest, easiest, and most importantly, safest way to go ahead and trade your CSGO skins. Now SkinsMonkey is super easy to use. You just have to take your item, take the item you want, and just go ahead, apply code MasterShiny to get your free $5 if it's your first trade, and just click trade. And if you've got no money to spend right now, they've got two ways for you to get some. First is just heading over and topping up. Make sure to use code MasterShiny for a free 5% there, and they've also got the freebies section where you can go ahead and enter free raffles that happen every single day. And as always, thank you so much SkinsMonkey. Make sure you use in the top link in the description to claim your free $5 today. Now this video is going to be very quick. It's going to be something that I can't spend a ton of time on every single case. So if you want to get all the resources to check out these cases for yourself, I highly suggest you check out this video where I go over a little bit more in depth what specifically I look at for every case and how you can do the same. First up though, we gotta start off with the worst cases. Now the worst cases to invest in, at least at this point in my opinion, are definitely going to be the most expensive cases. When we're specifically looking at least at these top 4, I don't see a ton of potential here, especially when we talk about ROI or return on investment, which is the main thing that I specifically look at. We're not going to be getting a very large return on investment from these cases because they're just so expensive already. Therefore, it doesn't make them a very desirable investment, at least in my opinion. The other thing to go along with these is a lot of these cases, generally speaking, have very low unboxing rates. Even though the supply on the market is definitely on the lower side, the unboxing demand for these cases is just not there for the most part because no one's going to be giving up $30 to go ahead and open up an esports 2013 case when the average ROI is like 23%. Just doesn't make sense for the majority of people, and that's why these cases generally start to stagnate, especially when they get to these higher price points. Now when we're talking about the best cases to look at, there's a couple different routes you can go. The first route is going to be with the cheaper cases. Cheaper cases are the most desirable way to invest because you can get a ton of these cases, and hopefully if the price increases 5-10 cents, you could be looking at a massive profit. Now when it comes to the cheaper cases, they're not really too cheap anymore. You can see something like the Gamma case here, how it was 3 cents for multiple years at that price point. And now we want to look at our active duty cases, something like the Recoil case here, or even the Dreams and Nightmares, are leveling out at around that 60 to 70 cent price point, which is something very important we're going to be talking about in just a little bit. But for the most part, I think you're definitely going to be wanting to look at least under $1 if you're wanting to specifically focus in on these cheaper cases. In my opinion, there's definitely still some good ones out there. We want to talk about Prisma 1, Prisma 2, Danger Zone, Horizon. I think these cases definitely have a lot to go in terms of fully developing into a great investment, but when we're looking at the overall platter, in my opinion, these are probably some of the ones you should at least start looking into. You don't have to finish with them, but you just start looking into. I think you're going to be in a pretty decent position when it comes to figuring out what case you want. The other route you can go is looking at those cases that are in that 75 to maybe $1.50 range. These ones are going to be very expensive compared to the previous ones, but honestly, in my opinion, they offer a lot more potential in terms of going up. Obviously, we're focused on ROI though, so you do need to balance that out in your own mind. I'm not going to be able to figure out which investment you want to go for specifically, how long you want to hold it. All of those factors make a difference in which case you should be choosing. But for these cases, there's a ton of potential, and honestly, it's pretty hard to go wrong if you focus in on a couple main things. The biggest one is going to be unboxing demand. Obviously, I talk about all the factors in this video, but unboxing demand is one of the greatest factors because there's over 20 million cases on average every single month unboxed, and we need to figure out a case that's being unboxed right now, because if you pick a case that's not being unboxed right now, why would people start unboxing it at a later date? People like to stick to what they know, and people definitely like to stick to cases that do them well, and therefore if some of these cases end up doing well, I think there's definitely the potential that other ones in those similar areas could follow. When it comes to these cases, I would say you should probably look into either the Spectrums, the gammas or the chroma cases if we're looking at major groups of cases, and I think these ones are definitely ones you should start your investigation with, at least in my opinion. Now, if you remember a couple minutes ago, I talked about the active duty cases. Now, active duty cases are not particularly my favorite investment to make, at least at the current moment. You can see the prices are relatively high, and I don't really like that, but there is definitely some potential why you could be investing into active duty cases. The biggest one we mentioned before is that we're now starting to see these prices level out at around 60 to 70 cents, which is incredibly high when we're talking about active duty cases. The current cases in the active duty pool are the most expensive that they have ever been. If we want to talk about cases that have leveled out, 70 cents is absolutely insane when we compare that in the past, most of the time the cases sat around 3 cents when they were in the active duty pool, and maybe 10 cents once they were in the non-prime. The fact that we're seeing cases this expensive in the active duty pool shows that there is potential when some of these cases move out of the active duty pool, they could go up very high in price. Something like the clutch case has already seen some pretty significant movements after exiting the active duty pool. With everything being said, there definitely is some potential in that active duty area. As we've seen with the clutch case, now that it's come out, it's gone up potentially 50% in price in the past month, which is a very nice increase when we're talking about CSGO cases, and just any investment. 50% in 1 month is absolutely crazy. But I can say for the most part, I'm not someone that's particularly invested into the active duty, and I think it's definitely one where you need to be careful, because odds are your case is probably not going to be the one removed when the next time comes around that Valve is removing a case. It could be, but it's not guaranteed to be. And then the last group I want to talk about for just a quick minute is those discontinued cases. Now, discontinued cases are a very unique instance that really can't fit into any other group. If you don't know, the discontinued cases are the past couple operation cases, not Hydra, but Shattered Web, Broken Fang, and Riptide, and then you've got those esports cases. Now, this is a very interesting area, and honestly, I can't see at this point I would personally be investing in, but I definitely could see the reason why someone might want to. If we want to talk about these cases in general, the price theoretically should only go up because there is a finite supply, which is not something that happens with any other CSGO case. When we talk about discontinued cases, there's no more of these being dropped, and therefore the price should only go up. But if we want to look at the long term of the Shattered Web graph, you can see that not always is guaranteed, and therefore I think there definitely is some risk with coming with this. I've had a lot of Shattered Web cases for a long time, and even though I've gotten a decent return, I would have gotten a much better return if I went with some of the other cases that I mentioned. It's not something that I'm trying to strive you away from, but the thing is, I think you need to be very careful because they are at this point getting to a pretty expensive price point, and therefore they could have some other better options instead of the discontinued cases. Obviously, with that being said, if you feel very strongly about a specific case, you can go for it, but obviously you need to know that these are not always going to be the best investments just because they are discontinued. But that's pretty much all I have for today. Obviously, make sure you're doing your own research. Check out all the other resources I've got posted on this channel. Don't specifically just take the cases I mentioned in this video. I think it's a great place to start, and that's the reason I make this video, because you guys really like that. But as always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.